Welcome back. I'm going to talk more about frequently misused words in biomedical writing, and I'm going to start today by talking about casual conversation transitions that should be avoided. These words you shouldn't put in your paper. Indeed, in fact, on the other hand, as a matter of fact, for instance, nevertheless, additionally, I will give you better words to use instead. Basically, whenever you use a transition word, you're going from one idea to another, and there are different situations in your paper that will require transition words. Like when you add information, you could say furthermore or moreover. Those are very strong words, and I know you're going to give me more information. Or when you're going to show an effect, you could say therefore or thus. Those are very strong, and I know precisely where you're going. When you're going to contrast ideas, you could say in contrast. Nice. Or whereas or although. Or when you're going to summarize, you could say in conclusion or in summary. These words don't have double meanings, so whenever you use them, I know exactly what you're going to try to say. That's why they're great. I'm going to say something quickly about articles. Now, articles are a, an, and the. There's a lot we could say about articles, but today I want to talk about articles just related to biomedical writing in particular and give you a few general principles. First, we use the word the for whenever we're referring to a specific thing or something we already talked about before. That's key. We already talked about it before. So you know and I know. Whenever you say the, you think the reader knows because I told him, and I know what I'm talking about. When you say a, you mean I didn't tell you before. This is the first time I'm telling you. It's a non-specific thing. So the means you know, I know. A means I know, but you don't know. So I'm going to tell you. And when I introduce it, I'm going to put a. Now, of course, we also say a or an, depending on the sound of the noun that follows the article. Here's an example. Direct measurements of each tissue were obtained using a MRI image. Now, the key point here is the sound. MRI. M, even though it's an M, which is a consonant sound, it makes an E sound. So M, it would be an MRI sound. We go with the sound of the E, not the letter, the M. And you often see that we don't use the article based on the spelling, but on the pronunciation of the word. Here's another example. Should we use gloves when examining a HIV patient? Now, H is a consonant, but we say H. So that's why we would say an H. You hear the A sound? An HIV patient. Here are some more points on the articles. Again, we use the for a definite. You definitely told me about it before. The sample was added to the reaction mixture. When you say the sample, I know it's the sample you told me about before. Maybe you told me in the previous sentence or that one you told me about previously in your paper, but it's a particular sample you already mentioned, you know and I know, so I say the. But if I say a new synthetic model was used, this is the first time that I'm telling you about this synthetic model, so I'm using a, introducing something new to you for the very first time. Often when we have more than one, we can remove our article. For example, after addition of catalyst reactions are heated. I don't have to say the reactions because the plural reactions means that I can remove it, and you often see that for plural nouns. Do not use the definite article the before specific nouns that contain a numeral or a letter. Now, this is another little rule that many times we don't apply, and we should. Whenever you have a number following your noun, like group 2 or group 1, then you don't need to put the before that. Here's an example. This activity and microcardial potassium loss as determined in coronary sinus blood were both significantly greater in the group 1 than in the group 2. No, we don't need to say the, because two and one mean that we don't put the article in front of it. I know it's kind of weird and it takes some getting used to, but basically group 2 and group 1, in group 1 and in group 2. No article required because of the number following, or sometimes A or B following a group. Again, no article required. Let me show you another example of this. The group 1, or the group 3 received Atcom on day 0 and began this on the day 1. No. Because the noun group is followed by a number 3, we don't need the. Just say group 3 received Atcom and began on day 1. We don't need on the day 1. Again, 1, because it's a number, means we don't need the before the day either. Another rule with using articles is use the before the names of body parts and anatomical structures. For example, the region of interest was set such that it included aorta. Now, our aorta is part of the heart, and because it's part of the body, we don't say aorta, but the aorta or aorta, even if it's the first time we said it. I know usually we will introduce with a aorta, but not here. Whenever you're talking about a body part, I guess because it's already very specific, in medical writing, we will put the before every body part. In this study, we performed MRIs for investigating the congenital deformities of uterus. Is that right? Uterus? No, the uterus. Why? It's a specific body part, and thus we need to put the before uterus. Well, thank you for joining us today. For more information, please visit our blog, editing.tw/blog. We have a lot of articles on how authors can publish more in international journals, and you can read about it on our blog. We also provide editing and translation help for scholars preparing their work for publication, and you can upload your paper at our site, editing.tw. Thank you for joining us. Bye.